Have you ever felt like you're an open book, sharing every detail of your life with anyone who listens? You're not alone. In our hyper-connected world, it's become second nature to broadcast our thoughts, feelings, and experiences to the world. But what if I told you that this habit could be holding you back from achieving true success and fulfillment? Think about it. When was the last time you held something back? When did you last keep a secret, not out of shame or fear, but because you understood its power? The truth is, in our rush to connect, to be understood, to be seen, we often overlook the immense value of privacy. You see, the most successful people in the world understand a fundamental truth. Not everything needs to be shared. They've mastered the art of selective disclosure, knowing exactly what to reveal and what to keep close to their chest. It's not about being secretive or dishonest. It's about being strategic with your personal information. Consider this: every piece of information about you is a tool. In the right hands, it can open doors, create opportunities, and build bridges. But in the wrong hands, or simply spread too thin, it can become a liability. It can be used against you, misinterpreted, or simply dilute your personal brand. Now, you might be thinking, but isn't openness and transparency the key to success in today's world? And you'd be partially right. Transparency has its place, but so does discretion. The most influential people understand this balance. They know how to be open and relatable while still maintaining an air of mystery and intrigue. Think of the people you admire most. The leaders, the innovators, the game changers. Do you really know everything about them? Or do they carefully curate what they share with the world? I bet it's the latter. This isn't about putting up walls or being cold and distant. It's about understanding the power of information and wielding it wisely. It's about recognizing that some things are more valuable when they're kept private. It's about respecting yourself enough to keep certain aspects of your life sacred and personal. Now I can almost hear some of you thinking, but I'm an open book. I don't have any secrets. And to that I say, everyone has secrets. Everyone has aspects of their lives that are better kept private. The key is identifying what those things are and understanding why they should be protected. It's a simple exercise. Take a moment to think about something you've shared recently that you later regretted. Maybe it was a personal struggle you posted about on social media. Perhaps it was a business idea you discussed too freely with a colleague. Or it could be a relationship issue you vented about to a friend. How did oversharing impact the situation? Did it help or did it create new problems? This is the crux of what we're discussing today. In a world that encourages us to share everything, we need to rediscover the value of privacy. We need to understand that some things are best kept to ourselves, not out of shame or fear, but out of wisdom. So, what are these 7 things we should never reveal? Why are they so crucial to keep private? And how can mastering the art of selective disclosure catapult you toward success? These are the questions we'll be answering today. But before we dive into the specifics, I want you to understand something crucial. This isn't about becoming secretive or paranoid. It's about being intentional with your personal information. It's about understanding the power of mystery and the value of privacy in a world that often underestimates both. As we explore these 7 critical areas of privacy, I want you to think about your own life. Think about the information you share freely and consider whether it's serving you well. Are you giving away your power without even realizing? Are you diluting your personal brand by oversharing? Remember, every successful person you admire has mastered this art. They understand that what they don't say is often just as important as what they do say. They know that true influence comes not from being an open book, but from being a well-curated library. Accessible, valuable, but with certain sections restricted to those who've earned the right to explore them. So, are you ready to unlock this powerful secret to success? Are you prepared to learn about the 7 things you should never reveal and why keeping them private can transform your life? Are you willing to challenge your assumptions about openness and transparency and discover a new way of navigating your personal and professional life? If so, then you're in the right place. Because today, we're going to explore a topic that's rarely discussed but incredibly powerful. We're going to learn how to harness the power of privacy in a world that often undervalues it. We're going to discover how keeping certain things to ourselves can actually open up new opportunities and lead to greater success. So, let's begin this journey together. Let's explore the 7 things you should never reveal to anyone and how this knowledge can revolutionize your path to success. Are you ready? Then let's get started with the first and perhaps most crucial item on our list. The first thing you should never reveal to anyone is your long-term goals and dreams. Now, you might be thinking, but isn't sharing our goals important for accountability? And you'd be right, to an extent. However, there's a crucial difference between sharing your immediate objectives and revealing your ultimate vision. Your long-term goals and dreams are the fuel that drives you. They're the secret sauce that keeps you going when times get tough. When you share these intimate aspirations with others, you expose yourself to potential negativity, skepticism, and even sabotage. More importantly, you risk diluting your own motivation. Psychological studies have shown that when we share our goals, we often experience a false sense of accomplishment. It's as if merely talking about our ambitions tricks our brains into feeling like we've already achieved them. This premature satisfaction can decrease our drive to actually pursue these goals. Moreover, by keeping your ultimate vision private, you maintain an air of mystery and intrigue. People are naturally drawn to those who seem to have a hidden purpose or direction. It creates curiosity and respect. Think about the most successful people you know. Do they broadcast their every plan and ambition, or do they play their cards close to their chest, revealing only what's necessary? The second item on our list of things to keep private is your financial status. This includes your income, savings, investments, and debts. In today's society, there's an unhealthy obsession with displaying wealth and success. Social media is flooded with images of luxury cars, designer clothes, and exotic vacations. But the truly wealthy, they rarely flaunt their financial status. Why? Because money talks, but wealth whispers. When you reveal your financial situation, you open yourself up to a host of problems. If you're doing well, you might attract freeloaders or create envy among your peers. If you're struggling, you risk damaging your professional reputation or losing opportunities. Moreover, your financial status is a powerful negotiating tool. In business deals, salary negotiations, or even personal relationships, the person with more information holds the upper hand. By keeping your financial status private, you maintain this advantage. The third thing to keep under wraps is your personal struggles and vulnerabilities. Now, this doesn't mean you should never open up or seek help when you need it, but there's a time and a place for vulnerability, and it's not in the public eye or with just anyone who asks. Your personal struggles are part of your journey, your story. They're the trials that forge you into a stronger, more resilient person. But when shared indiscriminately, they can be used against you. People might see you as weak, unstable, or incapable. They might use this information to manipulate you or undermine your authority. Instead, choose carefully who you confide in. Build a small, trusted circle of confidants who can support you without judgment. This selective sharing allows you to get the support you need while maintaining a strong, capable image to the wider world. The fourth item on our list is your political and religious beliefs. In our increasingly polarized world, revealing these personal convictions can lead to unnecessary conflict and missed opportunities. Your beliefs are deeply personal and often nuanced. They can't be adequately expressed in a soundbite or a social media post. By keeping these beliefs private, you avoid alienating potential allies, clients, or opportunities. You maintain the ability to connect with people from all walks of life, focusing on what unites rather than what divides. This doesn't mean compromising your values. but rather choosing when and where to express them. The fifth thing to keep private is your family issues and relationship problems. We all face challenges in our personal lives, but airing these issues publicly rarely leads to positive outcomes. When you share family disputes or relationship troubles, you risk damaging reputations, creating awkward situations, and even jeopardizing your professional life. Moreover, oversharing personal issues can make others uncomfortable and paint you as someone who lacks discretion. Remember, your personal life is just that, personal. It's not fodder for office gossip or social media updates. The sixth item on our list is your next move. Whether it's a career change, a business strategy, or a personal decision, keeping your next move private gives you a strategic advantage. When you announce your plans prematurely, you give others the opportunity to interfere, compete, or undermine your efforts. Think about a chess game. The best players don't announce their strategy. They keep their opponents guessing. The same principle applies in life and business. By keeping your next move private, you maintain the element of surprise and increase your chances of success. Lastly, the seventh thing you should never reveal is your insecurities and self-doubts. We all have them, but sharing them indiscriminately can be detrimental to your success and well-being. When you voice your insecurities, you risk making them more real and influential in your life. You also risk others using them against you or losing confidence in your abilities. Instead, work on your insecurities privately or with a trusted mentor or coach. Turn them into fuel for self-improvement rather than topics for public discussion. Remember, confidence is often about perception. By keeping your insecurities private, you project an image of self-assurance that can open doors and create opportunities. Now, you might be wondering, isn't this all a bit secretive? Aren't we supposed to be authentic and transparent? And that's a valid question. But here's the thing, isn't about being fake or dishonest. It's about being strategic with your personal information. Think of it this way. You wouldn't give your house key to every person you meet on the street, would you? Of course not. You're selective about who you let into your home. The same principle applies to your personal information. It's valuable, and you should be discerning about who you share it with. Being private doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means understanding the power of information and using it wisely. It means respecting yourself enough to keep certain aspects of your life sacred and personal. It means recognizing that not everyone deserves access to your innermost thoughts and plans. Let's break this down further. When you keep your long-term goals private, you're not being secretive. You're protecting your dreams from external influences that might derail them. You're giving yourself the space to pursue your ambitions without the weight of others' expectations or criticisms. When you're discreet about your financial status, you're not being deceptive. You're maintaining a level playing field in your interactions. You're ensuring that people value you for who you are, not for what you have or don't have. By being selective about sharing your personal struggles, you're not being cold. You're being wise. You're ensuring that when you do open up, it's to people who can truly support and understand you, not to those who might use your vulnerability against you. Keeping your political and religious beliefs private in certain contexts isn't about hiding your true self. It's about creating space for diverse connections and opportunities. It's about recognizing that these deeply personal beliefs don't define your entire identity or capability. When you refrain from discussing family issues or relationship problems publicly, you're not being secretive. You're being respectful. You're honoring the privacy of your loved ones and maintaining healthy boundaries between your personal and public life. By keeping your next move under wraps, you're not being sneaky. You're being strategic. You're giving yourself the best possible chance of success by maintaining the element of surprise and avoiding premature opposition or competition. And when you choose not to broadcast your insecurities and self-doubts, you're not being inauthentic. You're being self-protective. You're refusing to let your temporary doubts define you in the eyes of others. In each of these cases, privacy isn't about deceit or inauthenticity. It's about wisdom, strategy, and self-respect. It's about understanding that in a world that often demands constant sharing and exposure, there's immense power in selectivity and discretion. Consider this mare. The nature, the most valuable things are often the hardest to find. Gold is buried deep in the earth. Pearls are hidden in oysters at the bottom of the ocean. Diamonds form under immense pressure far below the surface. Your most valuable attributes, your deepest dreams, your most powerful thoughts, these are your gold, your pearls, your diamonds. They deserve to be protected, cultivated in private, and shared only when the time is right and with those who have earned the privilege. This approach to privacy can transform your life in numerous ways. When you're selective about what you share, you create an aura of mystery that naturally draws people to you. You become more intriguing, more respected. People want to know more about you, which gives you the upper hand in social and professional situations. Moreover, by keeping certain things private, you maintain control over your narrative. In a world where information spreads at lightning speed, this control is invaluable. It allows you to shape how others perceive you, rather than letting their interpretations of your overshared information define you. Privacy also gives you the space to grow, to make mistakes, to change your mind without constant external judgment. When you're not constantly explaining or defending your every move, you have more energy to focus on what truly matters, your personal growth and the pursuit of your goals. But perhaps most importantly, privacy fosters self-reliance and inner strength. When you're not constantly seeking external validation or opinions, you learn to trust your own judgment. You develop a strong internal compass that guides you regardless of what others think or say. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but what about authenticity? What about being true to myself? And that's a crucial point. Authenticity is indeed important, but it doesn't mean sharing every aspect of yourself with everyone. True authenticity comes from being in alignment with your values and goals, not from broadcasting every detail of your life. In fact, one could argue that privacy is essential for true authenticity. When you're constantly sharing and seeking approval, it's easy to lose touch with your true self. You might start tailoring your actions and decisions to fit others' expectations. But when you maintain privacy, you create a sacred space where you can be truly, authentically yourself without external influence. Think about the most authentic people you know. Chances are they're not the ones oversharing on social media or dominating every conversation with their personal stories. They're likely the ones who speak less but with more impact. The ones who seem comfortable in their own skin, regardless of others' opinions. The ones who have a quiet confidence that comes from knowing themselves deeply. This is the power of privacy. It allows you to develop a strong sense of self, unswayed by the constant noise of others' opinions and expectations. It gives you the space to reflect, to grow, to make decisions based on your true values rather than external pressures. But let's be clear. This isn't about becoming a recluse or cutting yourself off from meaningful connections. It's about being intentional with your sharing. It's about recognizing that not every thought, feeling, or experience needs to be broadcast to the world. Think of it as curating your personal exhibition. In a museum, not every piece of art is on display at all times. Curators carefully select which pieces to show, when to show them, and how to present them for maximum impact. You are the curator of your life. You get to decide what to display, what to keep in storage, and what to share only with those who have earned special access. This curated approach to sharing creates depth in your relationships. When you don't reveal everything to everyone, the people who are close to you feel special. They know they've earned your trust. They value the information you share with them because they understand it's not something you do lightly. Moreover, this selective sharing creates opportunities for genuine connection. When you're not an open book, people become curious. They ask questions. They engage with you on a deeper level. This leads to more meaningful conversations and stronger relationships. In your professional life, This approach can be a game changer. By keeping certain things private, you maintain an edge in negotiations, you protect your ideas from being copied prematurely, and you create an air of competence and reliability. People trust those who can keep things confidential. They respect those who don't feel the need to broadcast their every achievement or challenge. But perhaps the most powerful benefit of privacy is the inner peace it brings. When you're not constantly sharing, you're not constantly seeking validation. You're not riding the roller coaster of others' reactions to your life. Instead, you have the mental and emotional space to process your experiences, to learn from them, to grow. This inner peace translates into confidence. Not the brash, loud confidence that needs to prove itself constantly, but a quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from truly knowing and trusting yourself. So as we wrap up this exploration of the 7 things you should never reveal, I want you to reflect on your own life. How much are you sharing? How often do you feel the need to broadcast your thoughts, feelings, or experiences? Are you giving away your power without realizing it? I challenge you to experiment with privacy. Start small. The next time you have a big goal, keep it to yourself. Work on it quietly. See how it feels to pursue something without external input or pressure. Notice how it affects your motivation, your focus, your sense of self. The next time you're tempted to post about a personal struggle on social media, pause. Ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this the best way to address this issue? Could I benefit more from processing this privately or with a trusted confidant? When you're in a social situation and the conversation turns to sensitive topics like money, politics, or personal beliefs, practice the art of listening more and sharing less. Observe how this changes the dynamic, how it affects others' perceptions of you. As you do this, you'll likely notice a shift. You might feel more centered, more in control of your narrative. You might find that people treat you differently, with more respect, more curiosity, more interest. Remember, in a world that encourages constant sharing, there's immense power in being selective. In a culture that often equates visibility with value, there's strength in cultivating your inner world privately. In an era where everyone is clamoring for attention, there's magnetism in being a bit mysterious. Your privacy is a precious resource. Guard it carefully. Use it wisely. Let it be the soil in which you nurture your dreams, your growth, your true self. Because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you have is with yourself. And that relationship thrives not in the spotlight of public sharing, but in the rich, fertile ground of private reflection and growth. So as you move forward from here, I encourage you to be mindful of these 7 areas we've discussed. Your long-term goals, your financial status, your personal struggles, your political and religious beliefs, your family issues and relationship problems, your next move, and your insecurities. Treat them with the respect they deserve. Share them selectively, intentionally, and only with those who have earned your trust. In doing so, you're not just protecting information. You're preserving your power, cultivating your uniqueness, and paving the way for true, lasting success. Because remember, it's not about what you share with the world, it's about what you build in private that ultimately defines you. Now, armed with this knowledge, how will you approach your life differently? How will you harness the power of privacy to propel yourself towards your goals? The choice, as always, is yours. But I can promise you this: master the art of selective sharing, and you'll unlock a level of personal power and success you never thought possible. As we transition into our final section, let's explore how you can practically apply these principles in your daily life. How can you maintain privacy while still building meaningful connections? How can you leverage discretion as a tool for success? Let's find out! Now that we understand the power of privacy and the 7 crucial areas to keep guarded, the question becomes, how do we practically apply this knowledge in our daily lives? How can we maintain our privacy while still building meaningful connections and achieving our goals? The key lies in developing strategies that allow us to be selective in our sharing while still engaging authentically with the world around us. The first strategy is to practice mindful communication. Before you speak or share, pause and ask yourself 3 questions. Is necessary? Is this helpful? Is this the right time and place? This simple habit can prevent oversharing and help you maintain control over your personal information. Just consider the last time you were in a social situation where you felt compelled to share something personal. Maybe it was at a work event or a family gathering. How did you feel afterwards? Did sharing that information serve you well, or did you regret it later? By being more mindful about what we share, and when we share it, we can avoid these regrets and maintain our personal power. Another powerful strategy is to master the art of deflection. When faced with probing questions about areas you prefer to keep private, learn to gracefully redirect the conversation. This doesn't mean being evasive or dishonest. Instead, it's about steering the discussion towards more productive topics. For example, if someone asks about your financial status, you might say, "I'm fortunate to be comfortable, but I'm more interested in hearing about your recent project. How's that going?" This approach allows you to maintain your privacy while showing genuine interest in others. Developing a strong sense of self is also crucial in maintaining privacy. When you're secure in who you are and what you stand for, you're less likely to seek validation through oversharing. Spend time alone reflecting on your values, goals, and beliefs. The more grounded you are in yourself, the less you'll feel the need to broadcast your life to others. This self-assurance also helps in professional settings. When you're confident in your abilities and clear about your boundaries, you can navigate workplace dynamics without compromising your privacy. You'll be able to contribute meaningfully to discussions without revealing more than necessary about your personal life or future plans. Another key strategy is to cultivate a small, trusted inner circle. These are the people with whom you can be more open, sharing your struggles, dreams, and insecurities. Having this outlet prevents the buildup of pressure that might otherwise lead to oversharing in inappropriate settings. Choose these confidants carefully. Look for people who have demonstrated discretion, who support your growth, and who respect your boundaries. Remember, it's not about the quantity of close relationships, but the quality. Few deep, trusting connections are far more valuable than numerous superficial ones. In the digital age, maintaining privacy also means being savvy about your online presence. Be cautious about what you post on social media. Remember, once information is online, it's virtually impossible to completely erase it. Before you post, consider whether you'd be comfortable with that information being accessible to everyone, including future employers, clients, or partners. This doesn't mean you can't use social media. Instead, use it strategically. Share content that aligns with your personal brand and professional goals. Use it as a tool to showcase your expertise and connect with like-minded individuals, rather than as a diary for your personal life.
When I think about change, I think about something much deeper than just altering your routine or picking up a new hobby. I'm talking about changing the way you see the world, the way you interpret your experiences, the way you understand your own journey. And if you're going to really make progress in your life, if you're going to get anywhere meaningful, then one of the first places to begin is to change your perspective. Most people think that success comes from changing their circumstances, finding a new job, moving to a different city, maybe even getting around a new group of friends. And sure, all those things can make a difference. But if you haven't changed how you think, if you haven't adjusted the lens through which you see the world, those changes will only be temporary. You'll find yourself slipping back into old habits, stuck in the same old ruts, facing the same struggles. It all starts with perspective. Here's what I mean by that. Two people can be in the same situation, right? They can be handed the same set of circumstances, maybe the same opportunity or even the same obstacle. And yet, one person will rise while the other person stays stuck. Why is that? It's perspective. One person sees the challenge as a stepping stone. The other sees it as a stumbling block. One sees the opportunity as an exciting chance to grow. The other sees it as a risk, something to be afraid of. Have you heard the story of the two salesmen? Two shoe salesmen are sent to an island to sell shoes. After arriving, they both observe that no one on the island is wearing shoes. The first salesman is dejected. He sends a message back to the company. There's no market here. No one wears shoes. The second salesman, with a gleam in his eye, sends back an entirely different message. Huge market. Nobody has shoes yet. Same island, same situation. Two totally different perspectives. And that's how life is. You're going to face situations where everything will depend on how you choose to see it. And if you want to change your life, you've got to start by changing how you think about what's happening to you. It's not what happens to you that determines your future. It's what you do about it. It's how you interpret it, how you frame it, how you respond to it. Think about the person who constantly says, nothing ever goes right for me. Now, maybe things haven't gone well. Maybe they've faced some real difficulties. But with that mindset, guess what happens? They become a self-fulfilling prophecy. They've already determined that nothing's going to change. So they don't see the opportunities when they come. They don't recognize the small victories along the way. They don't take action because they've already decided that it's not going to work out. The problem isn't their circumstances. The problem is their perspective. Now, this may surprise you. Problems are a good thing. I'll say that again. Problems are a good thing. They're what make us grow. They force us to stretch, to think differently, to become resourceful. If you have the perspective that problems are nothing more than obstacles, roadblocks in your way, then every time you face one, you'll feel frustrated. You'll feel stuck. But if you can change your perspective and start seeing problems as opportunities for growth, everything changes. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It takes work to change how you think, especially if you've spent years seeing things in a certain way. But here's the good news. You can do it. And you don't have to change everything all at once. Start with just one area of your life. Maybe it's your finances. Instead of seeing your financial challenges as burdens, start asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this experience? What opportunities might be hidden here that I haven't seen yet? It's like the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Sometimes the teacher isn't a person. It's a challenge. It's an obstacle. It's life presenting you with an opportunity to learn something new, to develop a new skill, to cultivate a new mindset. So many people fear failure. They avoid it like the plague. They think that if they fail, it's a reflection of their worth, their value. But here's what I've learned. Failure is simply feedback. It's information. It's the world telling you, hey, this didn't work. Try something different. But if you're stuck in a negative perspective, you'll see failure as the end of the road instead of a detour. You've got to change the way you look at failure if you want to succeed. I remember reading about Thomas Edison. and his process of inventing the light bulb. They say he failed thousands of times before he finally got it right. And when someone asked him about all those failures, do you know what he said? He said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Now that's perspective. Where most people would have given up after the first few failed attempts, Edison saw every failure as progress. He knew he was getting closer with each try, not further away. How do you handle failure? Do you let it stop you, or do you use it as a stepping stone? Your perspective on failure will determine how far you go. If you can learn to see it as a teacher, as a guide, you'll find that your setbacks are really just setups for your comebacks. But it's all about perspective. Another important thing to understand is that you have to be grateful for what you have. Being grateful is one of the most powerful ways to change your perspective. When you're focused on what's wrong, on what you don't have, on what's missing, you create a mindset of scarcity. You feel like there's never enough time, never enough money, never enough opportunities. But when you're grateful, when you focus on what you do have, on the things that are going right, something amazing happens. Your perspective shifts. Suddenly you begin to see abundance where before you saw lack. You start to notice opportunities where before you saw limitations. And I'm not just talking about being grateful for the big things, like promotions or winning the lottery. It's the little things that make the biggest difference. The fact that you have food to eat today, the fact that you have people in your life who care about you, the fact that you woke up this morning with the ability to make today better than yesterday. When you train your mind to focus on what you're grateful for, you're shifting your entire perspective. You're teaching yourself to see the good, even when life isn't perfect. And I'm telling you, life will never be perfect. But when you learn to find the good in every situation, you create a powerful shift in your mindset. You stop focusing on what you can't control and start focusing on what you can. One of the biggest places where perspective can make or break your happiness is in your relationships. How do you view the people in your life? Are they a source of frustration, or do you see them as a gift? It's easy to focus on what people are doing wrong, isn't it? It's easy to notice the things that annoy you, the things that don't go your way. But if you want to change your relationships, you've got to change how you see the people in your life. Start looking for the good. Start paying attention to the things they do right. Maybe your spouse isn't perfect, but they've got some wonderful qualities. Are you noticing those? Maybe your kids drive you crazy sometimes, but they also bring joy into your life. Are you acknowledging that? Here's something I found to be true. When you focus on the good in others, they tend to show more of it. It's almost like what you focus on expands. If you're always criticizing, always pointing out the flaws, guess what you'll keep seeing? More flaws. But when you start to appreciate the good, when you express gratitude for the things people do right, suddenly your relationships begin to shift, and the people in your life start to feel appreciated, which makes them want to do even better. It all comes back to perspective. The way you see the world shapes your world. If you're always looking for problems, you'll find them. If you're always looking for opportunities, you'll find those too. If you're focused on what's lacking, You'll always feel like something's missing. But if you focus on what's already abundant, you'll feel rich, no matter what your circumstances are. So how do we make this shift? How do we go from a negative perspective to a positive one? From a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. It starts with awareness. You've got to catch yourself in those moments when your perspective is working against you. Challenge yourself to find a new way of seeing things. What's the lesson in this situation? What's the opportunity? What can I learn here? What can I be grateful for? If you start thinking this way, I guarantee your life will change. Key.